using the back of Pepsi's base as his safe area, hiding behind the pocket factory. Very smart move, but of course, to counter all that, Pepsi brings down a bunch of militia. So the militia, of course, are going to help him get the extra kills, but, you know, Thu becomes the successful one because militia is just less lumber for the human, slowing his opponent down once more. I mean, every little bit counts. I mean, when it comes to doing a successful harass, you know, most people only consider their harassment successful if they kill a few units or get a hero kill. But that's not necessarily the case. When it comes to being successful with your harassment, sometimes it's all about just throwing off your opponent's game, making him think differently than he would usually. I mean, and this proves to be the case because now he has like 5 peons building a arcane vault, and he needs that arcane vault just so he can heal his footmen. Look, all this downtime. I mean, while he's having this downtime, Thu is able to creep out that expansion spot and put down a counter expansion. Very smart move. But then again, most players who are pretty skilled with this game will realize that if you catch a human who's fast expanding and your idea to counter that is your own expansion, then you're going to be fighting an uphill battle because human strength usually lies in tier 2, whereas Night Elf can't really compete with that until tier 3. So sometimes your best bet for countering a expansion by the human is to go to straight tier 3 and try and outmass tier 3 units before he counters you with tier 2. So anyways, down here we're seeing some footmen just chopping away at that expansion. Thu pretty much knows he's not going to be able to do too much to bring down this expansion, so he opts to just attack the gold mine instead. Very smart move. Thu picks up these Forest Troll Shadow Priests, which are really good for dispelling those early game water elementals, which are a real beast. I mean, that's pretty much the full tier 1 human attack right there. Comes from the water elementals, as footmen are just mainly a distraction unless they're used against armor that is medium from the archers, but you know, some decent micro can take care of that. So anyways, Thu also picks up some more mercenaries. He's just trying to counter the humans tier 1 because you know, he knows that it's going to be slower for him to tech to tier 2 because of the harassment that he had, plus the you know, plus the fact that he put up a quick expansion, so he's going to be running with a slower tier 2. Very standard, to be expected. We have a little bit of a battle going on. Good micro by Thu once again, brings out the Berserker. But you have to notice that Pepsi is no slouch in this game. I mean, Pepsi is really laying it down, and to be honest, he's playing very well against this strategy. You know, it's really unexpected, and that's basically your best advantage when it comes to playing any matchup, whether it's, you know, a human and orc or night elf and undead, whatever. Sometimes the best strategy is the one that's least expected, and you might find yourself with an advantage that you wouldn't expect, just based on doing something that isn't considered to be the stupid cookie cutter action. So anyways, I just need to tell my dog to shut the fuck up. Czar, shut the fuck up! I have a 4-year-old German Shepherd that he's a pretty badass dog, but sometimes he's a little annoying. So anyways, just doing a little bit of creeping here. I mean, a little bit of a battle going on. You know, it looks like Pepsi lays down the scout tower, but the scout tower is just more of a distraction, to tell you the truth. I mean, you know, it's not really in the best place to make into a guard tower, but it's kind of playing with the psyche of Thu. You know, telling your putting down a little scout tower makes your opponent kind of get a little fidgety. You know, they get to thinking of a tower rush when the case is it could just be a building for kind of like keeping track of your opponent, kind of like that farm that was laid down next to the altar of elders at the beginning of the game. Also a very standard thing, but you know, it's more of a distraction to your enemy to make them waste time, make them have to go back and kill it, because most people, you know, the first thing they want to do is get rid of those farms and towers, and you know, kind of forces your opponent to go to one side of the map. It's very psychological. You know, there's a lot of psychological warfare going on in this game, and that's why I picked it, because not a lot of people you know, pick up on all these subtle things, by just watching it. Some people might find this replay very entertaining, and it is very entertaining. But if you really sit down and analyze it, you'll notice that there's a lot of psychological warfare going on here. Like, for example, this Goblin Zeppelin. That Goblin Zeppelin, he knows that Thu's not going to allow that Zeppelin to drop anything off there, but he throws it down there anyways to force his opponent to pay attention to it while he can go off and do something else, whether it's tech or creep or whatever. So anyways, a lot of action going on, even by both sides. There's not much downtime from either player, and you will notice that Pepsi went to tier 3. Pretty standard. When you start to see a Night Elf, player teching or doing something a little odd, you're going to be expecting bears. Bears is a very standard thing. So griffins and knights, or sometimes you'll even see a bit of siege tanks going on. Sometimes even tier 3 mortars with breakers. I mean, tier 3 is just the way to go these days when it comes to a Night Elf late game. Trying to push your tier 2 advantage too far can end up as a loss, and a lot of human players tend to do that. But it's all in your play style. So there's a lot of variety in this game these days. But you will notice that I came back to Warcraft 3 and kind of checked out a lot of the replays and stuff, and I kind of noticed that things really haven't changed strategy-wise over all the years. Because pretty much all the strategies that can be used in this game have been invented. You're not going to really see too much new strategy going on. So to tell you the truth, if you really want a successful strategy and you can't think of something, why don't you try downloading a replay from like 3 years ago? Sometimes those old strategies, retro strategies, come back to be pretty successful. You might see a lot of maybe Dryad Bear versus Orc. Then maybe you can pull out an old school strategy and just go Dryad, Druid of the Talon, Archers. Or if you're seeing a lot of Druid of the Talon still, then you can bust out with some Bears and Dryads. Sometimes just throwing off your opponent and doing something that they probably don't have a lot of practice against can be really successful. So sometimes you just have to look outside of the box. You will notice that Thu went Pocket Factory and he went Rockets, which is very unused. That's not something you're typically going to see, because both of those skills are pretty mana intensive, and that's probably why Thu built that early shop. But he's just using the Moonwells and the shop clarity potions to his advantage. Picked up an anti-magic potion. Not really. He probably should have burned that anti-magic potion right now and picked up that Wand of the Wind so he could sell it or use it in a pinch. Probably because he's probably going to hit he's going to probably hit level 6 pretty soon. And Goblin Tinker's level 6 makes him immune to all magical attacks, so it pretty much makes the anti-magic potion repetitive. So he does hit level 6. And I will also mention that the Goblin Tinker at level 6 is like the perfect anti-human hero. You have that attack which does that extra damage to buildings, and one of their main advantages is their durable buildings. And you will notice that Pepsi even has a level 2 upgrade to armor for his buildings. So, that level 6 just makes takes his the biggest advantage away. So he's able to use his spells and pretty much avoid Stormbolt and all that other crap from the humans. So just a really powerful ability. And so power leveling his Tinker to level 6 on a map like this is just one of the best things and best ideas you can have, which allows him to use his staff of teleportation freely at any time he wants. So he doesn't have to worry about a Stormbolt coming in as he goes to staff. So it's pretty much just a free town TP. And as for Pepsi, he's just laying the smack down on Thu's tree. And yeah, so pretty much at this point, you have Dryads Bears versus Siege Tanks. Pretty cookie cutter strategy that a lot of people would probably be using versus human is Mass Bears, Dryads. It's just very successful. Bears is pretty good versus tanks. Even better would be Mountain Giants with the War Club upgrade. Me personally, if I can, I like to squeeze at least